All you assholes come and listen to us. It's the Keith and the Girl Show.
Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
And I'm Kerry Coddett.
Carrie, we're very lucky to have you again.
Thank you so much.
You are a treat.
Thank you.
And a pleasure.
So I didn't call me a trick. I'm just like,
And a queen indeed.
Thank you.
Now, today's guest, who's excited? I know you are. I know I am. Appeared in the films Party Girl, Wigstock the Movie, Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, RuPaul's Drag Race, a judge on RuPaul's Drag U, a roaster on Comedy Central Roast of Pamela Anderson. I'm talking about Lady Bunny.
Hello. Hello. How are you?
Hi, Lady Bunny.
Hi.
Now, I'll tell you what, of course, I am a little disappointed because I have to say this right away, Lady Bunny.
Yes.
You're not in drag.
On Halloween.
Right, of all things.
I know. Well, you know, professional drag queens call Halloween amateur night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's open mic night.
Sometimes we get a little bitter and worn out, but it actually had less to do with that than me downloading the directions out here. I thought it was in Times Square, and I was like, I'll take the train 2 stops, but to go in drag with out here, not know, I couldn't even find the address once I got off the train. So
How long does it take you to get
That's
into
my
drag?
question. How long?
about 45 minutes because I don't change
Really?
my look.
It takes me an hour and a half to get ready, and I'm not in drag.
So you didn't get ready today?
No, exactly. I
No.
left my face at home because I was in a rush.
No, you know, the other queens who are very into intricate makeup always tease me because I work the same look for decades. And the thing is, I don't kid myself that I'm a mannequin who can wear every silhouette or color. And once you see that, I'll wear dark red lipstick today, and then your already thin lips make you look like a grim snapping turtle. And you see the snapshots for years, and you just say, "Girl, that's not for you." And so you learn. You know, it's like just seeing different wig shapes. And so all the queens make fun of me because they say, "Oh, what will it be tonight? Coral lipstick with blue eyeshadow again." But you know, you have a signature look because hopefully it works for you.
Well, I printed out a picture of you as Lady Bunny, or are you Lady Bunny all the time? You know what I mean, but would I say Lady Bunny no matter
When I was in drag.
when you're in drag?
See, you're scared because everyone
Sure.
is forcing everyone to walk on eggshells with these fucking sexual pronouns, which is the whole point of my show. No one knows how to address each other. The whole world has become Pat from Saturday Night Live. You remember that Julia
Yeah,
Sweeney
I
thing where
remember.
no one knew it was
And we're
someone.
just like it.
Right, exactly. Or in the gay community, we said Miss Thing if it was a gay man acting crazy, or if it was the transsexual or whatever. It was just meant fool. That's all it meant. We weren't trying to say they were an actual thing.
But right now,
Right.
I wouldn't say Mr. Bunny.
Miss Thing.
Miss Thing.
Miss Thing.
Okay, so it's close. So I printed out a picture of you in drag.
Okay.
If you could put this up to your face as we're talking, it would make it easier for me.
I know.
So you say, listen,
And that picture's 15 years old.
I couldn't make it in drag, so I'd rather the cameras be off and no pictures. Why is that? Because it would take away the mystique?
Because I'm a shady lady and I could be in a sex
Aren't we?
club, you know, like sucking a dick that comes through the hole, you know, in a stall with a gorgeous guy, and then he'll see me the next day in drag and never
Right.
make the connection. And if he's nice, I might even give him his wallet back. You know?
Are you gay, straight?
1,000% gay.
He's
Honey,
being very PC
Honey,
right
I
now.
am a faggot.
That's what I should have said. Can you imagine?
No, I'm a drag queen. So, you know, it's like nowadays they're trying to open the gender umbrella, as it
Right.
should be. Everyone should be, capable of doing, whatever they want. You know, Prince, David Bowie, or Sylvester are perfect examples of pop stars Freddie Mercury, who took Annie Lennox at one point,
Right.
who took gender and played with it. So if you feel that you want to just get in drag to go to work, more power to you. If you feel like you want to wear eyelashes and a mustache, nothing wrong with it. I don't know why we need a new word for it, because the Cockettes did that in 1970. But now everyone gets so precious about these words that it is stifling discussion. And I think that if you treat everyone with respect, you might the labels don't matter as much because now I was in the laundromat. This is how glamorous my life is. And they had on Fox local TV.
Right.
So they were doing a story about how you can now sue your boss for $250,000 if you go to work one day and say, I now identify as a zir, Z-I-R.
What's that?
A Z, hello, I've been a faggot since I was born and I've never met one. But if you, here's.
You think the boss should say faggot more?
That's the problem.
Well, it might like
Make America fags again.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen, so from a Fox viewpoint, this was benefiting the employer because it was making it seem like, oh, now lunatics can just come in and announce that I'm something one day, and then we can get a whopping $250,000 fine. It's not quite that simple. What it's meant to protect, say you're a Stephen, you've been working at the same company for 5 years. After 1 year, you successfully transition into Stephanie and you look exactly like a woman. If your boss refuses again and again and mocks you and disrespects you and calls you Steve, and you can prove it, then you can sue him. But what Fox was making it try to sound like is that you can say, oh, boss, I'm a Zir from now on. And I don't know what that even is. So it was designed, the piece was designed to A, let you know about this law, but B, but here's the thing, even if you have been living as a woman or a man and you weren't born one and you transition on that job, what if you are an old boss and you've been working with somebody for 15 years, 5 years into it, you transition into into Stephanie from Steve, and your boss is trying to, he's old and he's absent-minded. He's got 1,000, and he says, get Steve to do it. He's great at, whatever, computer stuff.
Should he still be a boss? The guy sounds insane.
It's hate speech. No, maybe it's just somebody that's forgetful. And old. I mean, if they repeatedly mock you and belittle you, and it can be proven, that's different. But it also just kind of, I don't know. I think that gender umbrella is real wide. I mean, there's all these terms like a Zir, Z-I-R. I'm not going to disrespect them. I don't know what they are.
But do you want to know?
Kind of, but I mean, I guess
not enough to Google what it means.
No, you're right. You're
not
right.
enough to Google or pause when it looked like you were going to explain it.
Right.
Like maybe when they get a hashtag or like a protest or like something,
right?
You need a popular spokesperson.
Exactly.
Your publicist kept saying "she" in reference to you.
Well, and I have this part in my show where when I go to it, I know it might be tough for you to believe this looking at me now, but
I see potential.
Sometimes, what you doing after the show? Both of you. I didn't mean to leave anyone out.
Sure.
I will go to an airport, and sometimes they're busy. They're like just looking up from a counter, and they'll catch my swish, and my hair is blonde, and hear my voice, which is some people think is feminine, and they'll say "ma'am," and they'll look me in my face and say "ma'am," and I'm like, oh, so no wig, no makeup.
You're like, why am I trying so hard?
I know it hurts shoving your nuts up your ass and teetering around on stilts with shit glued on your head at the top of your eyes and nails. It hurts, but. They're forced out of respect to put me in a box. Maybe they are shaking in their shoes because everyone's so PC now that if they call me the wrong, maybe they think, oh, this person thinks it looks like a woman, but I better humor it or it's going to call glad. It's just like, I don't know what they think, but it makes me giggle. But some people get huffy. But if you are a Zir, try to explain it first. Because if not, that's a very rare thing. What do you
think they're doing? Zir coming through. And it's like, you didn't even explain it.
I honestly don't know what a Zir is, but we've got.
They don't want to say him or her. So they use the Z.
Oh, really? Come the fuck on.
No, but see, I'm not trying to discourage anyone from playing with gender. I've done that my whole life.
Right.
But when you expect me to know the word of the rarefied thing that you're calling, and you're going to get huffy in my face, I don't get it.
But nobody has been huffy in your face, have they? You're acting like this Zir thing is some problem you have every day.
No. I'm not a Zir. I'm not a Zir.
No, I know, but you saying to somebody like, you're acting like people are going, I tried to tell you it's Zim, Lady Bunny. This never happened.
Have you had interaction.
But the thing is, when they call
You're
me,
acting like it's a problem you have to keep dealing with.
All these Zers just running around.
no,
My bus driver, I tried to pay. He goes, exact change, and I'm a Zim. And I'm like, can I just go about my day?
No, as I say, the whole world has become, with kid, like they're on Kid Gloves dealing with Pat, and they are obsessed with this. And, it's being made out to be a much bigger thing. Trans people are 0.3% of the population. How much have they been in the news for the past 5 years? We are obsessed with opening the gender umbrella. There are so many gender fluid. I think that's when I'm in drag and I have diarrhea. But there's just a different one every day.
Are we giving trans people a little too much respect, a little too much time in the news?
Trans is one of the last taboos.
Right.
But they are getting it wrong as they kind of they're misrepresenting it sometimes.
How do you mean?
That's what I want to know.
Well,
let me in, Lady Bunny.
Well,
what are they up to, these trans?
Okay.
Come on, talk about it.
Okay. Well, when I mention Caitlyn Jenner's "I Am Kate" in my show, people almost hiss. And the thing is, they feel they were being punked, which the whole Kardashian gang has done because none of them have any talent. But it's just so Caitlyn, I guess, doesn't have any friends. So they cast these people as their friends. Some of them were not trans. One of them was a drag queen. I don't know all of them. But the other thing is that Caitlyn herself is not the average kind of transsexual. Caitlyn is a straight man, was a straight man, an athlete, a hero to a whole generation, who has now transitioned into a woman, but she likes pussy. So she wants pussy, loves pussy so much that she wants her own. Although actually she doesn't want her own pussy. I think she wants to fuck pussy with her with her dick. I don't think she has any interest in having surgery. So this is not I don't frown on that. You can transition into anything and fuck anyone you want, but this is not the typical of most people's, most transsexuals. And my transsexual friends were extremely confused by not just that, but many other parts of the show. Like when she said she was a Republican, very few LGBT Republicans.
Caitlyn is still a white male. Like when Caitlyn won Woman of the Year, I was like, well, that's white male privilege right there.
Bitch, she ain't been a woman
for a year. She hasn't been a woman for the whole year. But it's like only a white man could instantly be the best woman too. Like you just got here, Caitlyn. How are you already the best? Like what's going on? It's crazy.
You shouldn't be able to do everything, you're saying.
You shouldn't be able to just start something and already get an award for it. But to be fair, I was also mad when Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize like month one in his presidency. It's like, what the fuck did you do, Obama? You didn't do anything yet. But so.
Well, he bombed 7 countries.
And you get a Peace Prize for that.
That's America.
He got the Peace Prize before the bombing started, though. It was like he had just became president when that happened.
But I read an article in the Daily Mail, which is like the New York Post in the UK. Right. It's kind of trashy.
Oh, is it that bad? I thought it was so good. I was
maybe it was the Telegraph. I don't know, but maybe you like gossip. But they have this thing like we're getting an overwhelming amount of trans stuff in the media. For such a tiny percentage of the population, and it was from a conservative viewpoint. So we are getting a lot. Transparent, Dallas Buyers Club, this new thing with Matt Bomer or Mark Ruffalo or whatever that was. Laverne Cox. I mean, we're getting
The Bachelor seems pretty gay.
Which one?
The Bachelor.
Oh, I haven't
seen that one.
But it is a difficult thing for a lot of people to understand that you're born in the wrong body and you might need therapy, surgeries. I mean, it's intense. It's not easy. Sometimes it's very tough. So it is great. And I thought Bruce could really, really help because straight old men revered him as an athlete and had him on that Wheaties box. But instead it just went to confuse him. But I went to Philly to visit my sister. She has a daughter that was about 20 years old. And she was like tugging on her daddy's sleeve saying, would you respect me if I was trans? And I knew she'd asked my mother that 2 years before. And I had no sleep coming from a gig. So I said, if you're trans, you need to chop off that long blonde hair and take off that pink fuzzy jacket because, bitch, you're not even a dyke. I didn't say bitch, but it's like, but you see, this is the. Before that, she had been into this vampire show where one of the committed suicide and was like dating this girl that slit her wrists. I mean, I don't think we should shelter people from everything, but these things do have effects on impressionable kids, and you know. I hope we can be more accepting of trans people. They are subject to violence and, you know, other things. But
what was the wrist slicing? What was that?
The what?
The wrist slicing?
Oh, that was just something that this crazy. They watched some TV
unrelated.
where someone committed suicide, and so they were all about my niece before she thought she was trans. So it's like these kids do take stuff from shows, and you know, I guess.
So are you saying that you think that trans is like a trend?
Well, this is what I really do want to say is that there was a trend when you mentioned Tu Wong Fu. Drag was in Wigstock, the movie, RuPaul. It was all about drag. Then it went overboard. It was in every commercial and every sitcom. And as in Tu Wong Fu, even male action stars, you know, like Wesley Snipes, Patrick Swayze, and John Leguizamo were getting in on the game. Then, like any fad, people got over it, and we thought, oh, all the drags thought we have it made. We're mainstream now. No door will be slammed in our face. Well, then when the trend ended, it ended, and no one wanted to hear anything but like the mainstream publications that have been writing us. They were done with us. So all I'm saying, I hope that the trans dialogue is really opening people's minds and showing how tough it can be, but I hope they are not tying their rights to a fad, because then their rights go out of style when that fad goes out of style. And instead of using the time that they are in to really spread, it is being misused in some ways. So.
All right. When did you first get into being a drag queen? Was it as a roommate with RuPaul or before that? Whose fault is it?
That's what I was going to say. You were watching Ru on TV because these kids get crazy ideas.
Honey, if Ru and I were roommates in my early 20s in Atlanta, but I was always doing like I was in drag when I was a kid, you know, at times. And I mean, I lived with long hair, and at one point the teacher, I think I was 9 or 10, the teacher had cut somebody's hair, some boy's hair without, they said, close your eyes, and cut his hair. And I flipped out because I already knew that in my mind I was a woman. Right. So, you know, I ran home crying, whatever. My dad marched back over there and said, you touch a hair on my son's head and I will take this to the Supreme Court. So, I mean, it was like, you know, just I was always experimenting with drag in this like new wave, you know, Adamant and all them wore drag.
Does it become a competition between you and RuPaul when you go out at night and you'd have to just one up each other?
Well, if it was a competition now, he'd be winning.
He's a pretty...
Sorry, she. Oh, no.
I was going to say.
No, I call him he because he don't get in drag.
Is that a shame? Like he doesn't think he has to anymore?
I guess not.
He's a pretty man and a pretty woman, right? Did you ever make a move?
We
look at you.
No,
Blush it.
No, Rue said that we did
right.
on some Andy Cohen show, but no, we did not.
No?
Rue and I were super close, and it was love, but it was not a sexual love.
You would have masturbated to her, right?
Never.
No, because if I'm even halfway close to somebody, it's all over the place.
Really?
Yes.
Well, get it out.
I do. Oh, you're a dirty dog. All right. Cat, excuse me. Dirty cat. Dirty cat.
Well, what do you think about the word tranny? Because I do feel like the slurs and the things that you're not supposed to say changes and no one knows. There's no Google update. There's no alert that tells me like, okay, this is now offensive. So you don't know until after you've already said the wrong thing and somebody like rips you a new asshole for it. And I remember I may have said tranny or somebody else said tranny and they were like, that's offensive. So I was like, okay, what's the non-offensive term? And they were like transgendered. I'm like, that's just the longer version of tranny. Tranny sounds like a term of endearment to me, like nanny. You know what I mean? But I'm not the authority on that. So I just wanted to know.
Well, I learned the word tranny on the English club scene where it was used as a greeting. And the English abbreviate everything. Breakfast is brekkie, biscuit is bicky, and tranny is transsexual or transvestite, which I am.
A transvestite.
Yeah,
right.
Dressing women's clothes for work.
Yep.
A drag queen. But so it was, just hey, tranny. Even if they were just a guy that had a little bit of makeup on or something, it was like, hey, tranny girl, whatever. So the thing is, somehow recently it's become a slur, and it depends on how you use it. If I say to look, there's some black people who would never want the N word spoken. There's other that put it in the chorus of their songs. So there is no clear defining.
You don't know what you can do and not, right? You walk down the street, you don't know what you're supposed to say. Is that what you're telling me?
I do think that this insistence on being so PC is stifling discussion. It is stifling discussion. If I meet a Zer and I get it wrong and said, oh no, I'm a Zer, then I'm going to be educated. I haven't met one.
Right.
But, it's just like, I think if we're focusing too much on the terms, and there's so many new terms.
There are. I can't keep up.
It's tough out there.
Heteronormative, cis.
But that one gets on my nerves.
Heteronormative?
Yes.
Me too.
There's also homonormative, which I
I
don't even
never
know what that
heard
is.
that.
Because why can't I just be normal? Now you're acting me like I got a problem.
Well, do you know what heteronormative is?
I think it's just being straight, right?
Well, I did this event where I worked with two PR girls, and I was waiting backstage to go on, and they said heteronormative. I said, shit, another one I got to learn. So
There goes my night.
I know. I said, what does that mean? They said, oh, well, we're straight. So if we meet a guy and ask him if he has a wife or girlfriend, that's heteronormative because we're assuming that he's straight like us. He might be gay. I'm like, what the fuck? We straights are 90%. Gay are 10%. We want our rights from them. Why are we going to make them walk on eggshells? It's so crazy. Plus, what gay man ever got insulted by being called masculine? Honey, put straight acting on your girl. If you fooled a real woman into thinking that you want to fuck another woman, go change your profile to straight acting and it will light up with responses because gays hate themselves.
Hey, how you doing? You're on Keith and the Girl with the controversial Lady Bunny.
Well, first of all, I want to say, girl, I can't believe you're still alive.
Is that Bianca Del Rio?
They're a huge fan of Bianca. My name is Mariana. Everybody knows me as Mimi. I'm a huge drag fan, and I have.
But I'm trans. I'm trans now.
Oh, well, I mean, you're with the time. Come on, you got to get it together so the kids like you.
Yes.
And what is before you ask them?
Her.
What do you like?
Them, plural, whoever.
Lady Bunny taught me I don't have to respect anybody, so who gives a shit? No one can correct me today. What do you love so much, Mimi, about drag queen? Just people being fabulous?
Well, the fabulosity is just something to be admired, but there's something punk rock to me about drag. There's something very fuck you about these manly men slapping on makeup, putting on wigs, and basically celebrating femininity in a way that me as a woman took me 35 years to learn how to celebrate. And watching drag queens do it hugely influenced my love of my femininity and makeup and hair and all that stuff because I was a tomboy most of my life. And, I'm also a recluse if I'm not in a relationship. And drag shows were the first things that I went to by myself. And I didn't need to have a boyfriend or a friend or somebody go with me. And so I mean, I'm like shaking and on the verge of tears because I get so emotional because it's really changed my life.
Well, maybe it changed your life in the same, if you weren't putting on a lot of makeup or making a lot of effort to get gussied up. I mean, drag definitely pushes my adrenaline button. I'm not shy ever, but I don't go, it's not fun for me to go to a club out of drag. I like to bust in. Make an entrance and the heels may be hurting, and the nuts are shoved up the ass, but it makes me, that's just where I can act a fool and without any repercussions and go slam my fist on the bar and say free drinks now for everyone. But it is, I mean, when you're in your costume, it is freeing.
Is your dick permanently bent a little bit because you keep shoving it up your ass?
It's not really big enough to tell.
It just has a small clit, a big clit.
Right. So what do you want to say to Lady Bunny?
So my first question, because you've seen so many of the drag race girls come through, who was the most overrated diva, like that had diva antics that were not, balanced with their talent? And second follow-up is I went to see Bianca in San Francisco at the Warfield. I thought that was amazing. You know, we have drag queen in such a mainstream way, doing comedy, doing et cetera. Where do you see drag in the next 2, 3, 5 years?
In jail, I hope. Huh?
Yeah. No, put to death. Jail is too easy.
On a cartoon.
Well, the first question.
Who's the biggest cunt?
Who's the biggest cunt? Well, it's funny that you said diva attitude because I deal with drag queens all my life, and there are some that are, like Grace Jones, who are totally unpredictable. But honey, you get them out on that stage, and they are worth all those extra requests, or call the drug dealer, or whatever it is. So I say, listen. If you're going to exhibit diva behavior and attitude, you best back it up with some diva talent, or nobody is. It's going to be a very, move on, because no one would tolerate it. Well, now Sharon is very intelligent, and Sharon is very different. She's political. Yeah. She's vegan. She is. She went to. That Love Ball thing in Austria, and when they got her off the plane, they interviewed her, and she said, "I am so happy to be here in the birthplace of Hitler," and they put her on that plane, right back, because you can't discuss that over there, and so that fed into her image as a bad girl, and whether you like her or not, or have heard bad things about her, behavior as someone, which I can't dish that kind of behavior because I was a mess for decades, drinking and all that. But, she has a thing, and she happened around the same time as Lady Gaga was blossoming. So the kids needed a goth drag queen with white face and blood dripping out of their mouth. So I respect Sharon. I'm not going to say, I will say that in the last season, Miss Fame and Pearl can barely walk to a beat. Okay? Then this next season, they had Kim Chi, who looks incredible, but she can barely walk. So what's next? Is it going from RuPaul's Drag Race to RuPaul's Wheelchair Race? I mean, this is insane.
That's important as a drag queen to walk, right?
Well, it's important to, look, a lot of the queens have... There's like this code where everything has to be done a certain way, your hips padded a certain way, and your nose contoured a certain way. That stifles creativity. It can be anything you want, from dressing as an old woman like Dame Edna, or, as a club kid that's bald and, whatever, a trident, whatever. I mean, it can be anything you want. So we shouldn't put limits on it. And that's in terms of drag, where do I see it in a few years?
Yeah. Because you've seen the ebb and flow, and you've seen it go mainstream, and then you've seen it go back into the shadows. Do you think it'll just kind of stay kind of mainstream and just become kind of pop culture, just one of the things that's part of pop culture?
Well, I know that my sister told me that kids in her neighborhood outside Philly it's like a thing to do, to adopt a drag mom online. And I find it very concerning when people tweet me and say, "Will you be my drag mom?" Because I don't know them. But even if it does go, out of the mainstream's eye, for gay events, drag queens with their dick shoved between their legs, or strippers with their dicks hanging out, have always been the two entertainments of choice, or great singers. So I don't think we have to worry too much.
Do you?
Okay, well, this has been an honor to speak to you, Lady Bunny, and I thank you for everything that you have done and everything that you do.
Well, thanks, girl.
That was sweet.
Thanks for calling.
All right, take care, Mimi.
Bye.
When you hear a name like Sharon Needles, people seem to enjoy these puns. Was that hard to pick Lady Bunny, or you're like, man, I wish I picked a pun? Sharon Needle. I mean, at one point there was a Brandy Alexander
in every, which was an old timey drink.
Okay.
So
I
there
was
was,
like,
it was brandy. There was one
I
in
was
every.
like, Hennessy?
But then there's very common Anita cocktail. There's several of those in the country. Anita Man. There's one in New York. Anita Green Card, which I think is more clever. But there are other Sharon Needles. But I didn't give it that much thought. My thought was throw something on that will get you into the club for free and free drinks and make straight guys want to fuck you. I don't know.
Are you more one of these? I'm being told there's 3 types of drag queens: the comedy queens, the ones who truly try to pass as women, and the old school ones.
Oh, so those are the 3 ones.
I think
Comedy
I'm the
queens.
first and the third.
Comedy and old school. When you're in a
Well, old school is only lip syncing, so
Okay.
I guess I'm not that.
because I've been to one of these a drag queen show where they lip synced, and I noticed, not to brag, but I have this look like I'm a homophobic cop. And the drag queens would love to come over to me because as if that's the challenge. Do you find that to be true?
I'm on my
Look
way
at how
over
she's
now.
looking at you. She's
we-
like, oh, yeah.
right.
Do I find what to be a challenge?
Will you perform in a club singing "It's Raining Men" or whatever, and be looking out and be like, "I'm going to this guy. He's I don't even know how he got in here, but I'm going to make him uncomfortable."
Like, is it an extra challenge to like turn a straight guy out?
I don't know if they see it as an extra challenge, but drag queens will do, and some feminists say this is misogynistic, to constantly be grabbing their fake boobs because that's a joke. They're fake, or rubbing the pussy that they don't have. So it's just like a kind of a trashy.
Feminists say that that's misogynistic.
Oh, people from the old school misogynists never liked drag. They said that because if you look at my drag, which you're saying we would love to, but you aren't in drag.
It's over the top.
I wear blue eyeshadow, long lashes, high heels, girdle, everything I can try to do, to conform to gender norms. But back to, it always makes a crowd scream, especially, where was the show?
In the city.
It was like at my
Lips?
apartment.
Lips?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
This is known as a place for not the gay community, but for tourists who want to do something New Yorky or bachelorette parties. So it always, if you see someone who is, probably straight,
Right.
you go and you sit in his lap. If there's some particular lyric, you might have done this number every time, and it always works. If you get sexual because you are dressed as a woman with a straight guy, it's meant to make everyone else howl because he gets embarrassed.
Right.
And, everyone has a kiki because the whole place is built around gender,
Right.
goofing,
Right.
know?
All right. Because they love me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
See that?
Yeah. And yes, the club was my bedroom.
It was. I knew it.
I call it
knew
Lips.
it. Well, I have a question for you. So I saw some things online about Black women or women in general sort of appropriating gay speech, like "yes, queen" and "the gag is" and a kiki, like where gay slang is becoming a popular part of like the vernacular that like straight people are using. And I've seen like bloggers, I try not to read the blogs, but the bloggers are like, you're like, straight Black women, please stop appropriating our stuff. And then I saw another blog was like, well, we got this from Black women or women in general. So like, what is your thought on that? Does it annoy you when you see straight women like, yes, queen, and like trying to
It annoys me when gay people say that.
Right.
And there's another one that do, and I don't know whether it comes from gay men or Black women, but
What?
they snatch this imaginary cobweb. Yes, girl. Then I said, no, you didn't. And I don't know what how many. It's Halloween. There's lots of cobwebs. Please don't snatch them. That might be part of somebody's costume. But yes, it's insane. But there is a cross section between gay men and Black women, and even Black culture, I would say, because it's changing now. But throughout my life, I've noticed that if you see a Black guy and a white guy walking down the street, there's a pretty good chance that they're gay. Because there is
Because what do they have in common? Other than dick.
Well,
what could they be doing together?
No, but because I mean the culture is changing now. But growing up down south,
Right.
I always noticed that. But this has been a big deal. And I didn't see this article. But I don't care. Listen, cultural appropriation can be cultural appreciation. And it's just like people saying it's like it's a fine line, because okay, I don't care. If first of all, if someone mimics what you do, that's because they like it. They're not trying to say, I don't respect you, therefore I'm going to steal from you. So I would say to these queens that are saying black women are stealing their culture, that I haven't heard that. I've only heard the opposite. I've heard there was an article by Sierra Manny about a year and a half ago, which was called "White Gay Men Have Got to Stop Stealing Black Women's Culture." It was her student paper, but it appeared on time.com, very scholarly. I read it all and I said, oh, no, she didn't. No. It's a good thing I'm a strong black woman, or that shit would have got on my nerves. No, but, there is a cross section.
Kerry's head looks like it's about to explode.
No, does it? No, well, no. I mean, I agree with most of what you're saying. There's some things that I disagree with because, like, it's what we were speaking about earlier. It's all about, it's a case-by-case basis. Like, I don't necessarily think that mimicking someone's culture is always a sign of respect. I think sometimes it is, like, you just like it. But I also think sometimes it goes way too far. And in the case, it's different because I'm Black. You know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff that we did was always frowned upon. And, like, my bad. Like, if I used slang back in the days, it'd be like, oh my God, she's uneducated. But now that the average white person knows what my bad means or on fleek, now I'm seeing like execs at TV shows sign off emails like, yeah, keep it 100, son. And it's like, if I did that 5 years ago, you would be like, oh my goodness. So it's just interesting. It's interesting to watch and kind of see that. I see like Black hairstyles so it's different, but I'm not super sensitive to it. It just depends on what it is and what the scenario is, you know?
I mean, I always assume with like, Nene Leakes and people like that they are getting some of this lingo from their gay stylists.
Yeah,
I mean, I always assume,
they are.
But I also know that, gay clubs have been very interracial,
right.
And this sounds a little corny, but we have always worshipped Black female vocalists. Donna Summer, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, Tina Turner. We worship them. I mean, the ones we really worship are the ones that aren't even that well known, like Martha Wash that sang "It's Raining Men," but had other many. I mean, she's an incredible. Jocelyn Brown. A lot of people don't even know who these people are, but we said, "You are so fab. Come over and sit with us." And so I don't. I mean, you'll see, a lot of gay guys doing the choreography, or any other kind of women, really, of single ladies or whatever. But yeah. I don't think that the artists who are Black female, who gays go buy tickets to their concerts and buy their CDs. I don't think they care if what they do is so great that it catches on.
Right. So in that aspect, like and this is where it's like a double standard too, because it sounds so weird. Like, I love gay people. Like, how can you just say that? Like, some are assholes, I'm sure. I don't mean to objectify like a whole group.
Guilty.
So it doesn't.
By the way, you're the reverse Donald Trump. I assume some are assholes.
Right? They must be some. But like, so it doesn't bother me. Like, I'm not one of those Black women that's like, oh, why are these gay men trying to be Black? Like, I do comedy. And when I came on stage, like just the other day, a group of gay dudes, they were like, yes, queen, when they saw me. But I'm fabulous. How could you not love me? So I wasn't mad at that, But so I just wanted to ask you, I'm not sensitive. Like, I think gay culture and Black female culture is like sort of intertwined. Like, I say shade and what's the tea? Like, so it's interchangeable. So I think it becomes a little bit different when it's like straight
who
white
even
men.
knows where "what's the tea" came from?
I
mean, that could
idea.
easily come from Black culture. I don't know.
It could have came from some white lady asking her slave, where's the tea? What's the tea being served today? Spill it, bitch. Like, who knows? Nobody knows. No one knows.
That would be very amusing to see. But, we're having one article I saw on a very clickbait-oriented website was that Beyonce has worn Bollywood-inspired facial jewelry in one of her videos. And I was like, okay, but maybe I'm getting this wrong because I am white and I am the one that culturally appropriates and steals and oppresses other people. But Bollywood is not a person. Bollywood is not a people. It's a movie studio that's made millions of dollars and quite a lot of movies for decades. So I think Beyonce can get away with that one. But, it's just like...
It is a tricky thing because I always I didn't know that I could appropriate sideways, because I'm an oppressed person. So why can't I be dressed as a chola for Halloween? It's all love Mexican person. You know what I mean? But it's so crazy now where you can only ever be you and you can't ever so I don't fucking know either. We're all trying to figure this out together and it's crazy. That's why I do weed. Got to stay high to deal with all this shit.
Well, I tried to think of a costume idea, and I think I hit on one that would offend absolutely everyone.
What?
First, I'll use prosthetics to make my eyes look Asian.
Okay.
Then I'll cover that with blackface and then top it off with a KKK hood.
Mm-hmm.
Then a rainbow burqa with a Hasidic string belt around it. And then I'm going to have, I don't think that's offensive enough, so I need to have some props like a cross made out of dildos and a cartoon of Muhammad, a young boyhood Muhammad with getting fucked by a Catholic priest and a tomahawk covered in crude oil that I will use to attack LGBT people.
And then what? Guess what? He just shows up as himself. I didn't have time.
All of these ideas.
Yeah.
Now, when say you go to the doctor's office.
Yes.
Do you make an appointment as Lady Bunny or as John Ingle?
No, everything legal is as John Ingle.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about.
But there's some queens that do drag,
Mhm.
and this is when I moved to New York. Lipsinka is a very famous drag queen, and she likes to be known as John Epperson as Lipsinka. There was another queen that wanted to be known as John Kelly as Joni Mitchell when he impersonated her. And I just thought, if I ever tried to tell my sick friends, you have got to just refer to me in one way when I'm in drag and one way or another, they would be yelling down the street when I was not in drag, hey, buddy! Just like to get my... So it's never bothered. I just kind of assume that people are going to think different things. I'm used to being looked at in an odd way, so I grew up with it. It doesn't really, bother me.
All right, I do want to talk about your show, but let me mention this if I may. Movement watches. Look at this sexy watch I got. Style, right?
MVMT.
MVMT watches. They were founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. Their goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality minimalist products at revolutionary prices. With over 500,000 watches sold to customers in over 160 countries around the world, Movement, MVMT Watches, has solidified itself as the world's fastest growing watch company. And it comes in this cool case. Look at this. You think you would buying some Apple product.
Oh, wow.
All right, look at that. Fancy, boom,
It's a very cool case.
It's a very cool case. I'll put the case up with pictures of the watch. The case is so nice. I'm gonna give something as a gift in the case. I'm keeping the watch though. It's a pretty cool watch. I think it's great. My wife knows fashion. She loves it, so that's cool. They started this company, two broke college kids. They wanted to wear stylish watches. They couldn't afford it. So they said, hey, starting my own watch company. There you Movement watches start at just $95. I'm talking, you go to a department store. What's it going to be, $400, $500? They figured out that by selling online, they're able to cut out the middleman and the retail markup, and boom, you get a great price. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movementmvmtwatches.com/KATG.
This is a great watch. I just found one here. I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know who left this, but it's mine now. Thanks, Movement.
You really are taking this place. This watch has a really clean design. I get compliments on it all the time. Step up your watch game. Go to movementwatches.com/KATG. I wore it to Lenny's wedding. It was the talk of the town. They weren't even focusing on his speech. Join the movement. All right?
What a cool case.
Everything's cool about it.
Yeah.
Very hip. I believe that's Kenda's watch, and we'll put that online also. Now, the New York drag icon returns to Stonewall. I'm talking about Lady Bunny. The hilariously offensive show. What's the name of this show? Transgender. And nothing is off limits, and I mean nothing. You'll kill a person in the audience.
All right, Trump.
Yeah, he doesn't care. No, nothing's off. He'll roast Jaden Smith. poor child. Caitlyn
What do
Jenner.
you say about Jaden?
And even, what's Jaden doing that's pissing you off?
Jaden's on the spectrum too. He just don't know it yet. Is that,
On which spectrum?
I don't know.
On his daddy's spectrum?
You nasty. The show also includes parodies of songs from Adele, Rent, Bruno Mars. So you got music, you got comedy,
You got dancing,
You got-
choreography by Xanax.
you got it all. He said, for example, let me give you a little taste.
Okay.
Okay, because in case you're this PC world, in case you can't handle it. He said, I was trying to remember the name of that singer Rihanna used to date, and then it hit me. This guy does not give a shit in this world.
Who does not give a shit?
Who?
You.
Lady Bunny. She.
Lady Bunny, I love it. You're like, look, sorry, I got to be me.
Well, we've become so politically correct that they just made Dick Van Dyke change his name to Penis Van Lesbian. I mean, we're just overboard, you know?
I hear what you're saying. Grab the spider web.
Snatch.
Snatch it, Miss Thing.
Miss Keith.
Do you live in New York?
I live in Manhattan, yeah.
Manhattan. From Atlanta?
4 blocks from where I work at Stonewall.
You were born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, right? Or raised?
Yeah.
Both?
Raised.
Okay. Do you discuss them over there?
Do I discuss them?
Are they
I
pleased?
don't go see them.
Well, there you go. There you go.
You know, I mean, I tell my mom, you know, if you Google, you're going to find some stuff you don't like. But so just...
They ever say anything to you? Is your dad still around?
Both are still in the house I grew up in.
Do you talk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
But you send them Christmas cards like on the holiday of you, like from Lady Bunny, and then
they send Easter cards to me with bunnies with black spots and say, "We loved you the minute we spotted you." I mean, they're so sweet. I mean, I'm very lucky in the parents' department because I got to New York and I realized, you know, because when you're in your 20s, you're like, no, I'm going to be my own person. And, you know, I'm going to not, you know, I'm going to defy them to prove who I am. And so then I got here and I realized a lot of these people can't even tell their parents that they're gay.
Right.
Mine are cool with that. They just don't know that I'm a fucking drag queen. So it's like I always used to ask them, you know, because I would see, you know, shows like That Girl, where they would say, you know, I mean, the common theme was that you would want your daughter to marry a doctor or a lawyer. You know, so I that was in my head, and I would always say, what do you want me to be when I grow up? They would say, whatever you want to be. And I said, don't you want me to be a doctor? Don't you want me to be a lawyer? They said, not if you don't want to.
your parents are too cool to defy. You can't piss them off.
Now they say, now you really called our bluff. You know, fucking drag queen. What are you talking about? I said, but you said it. So but my dad, you know, it's not always easy for, you know, dads to understand gay or drag stuff. But I was doing a play in Atlanta, and during the intermission, a woman said, now, is Charity being played by a man? And my father said, yes, it is. And she said, well, he has nice legs. He hiked up his trousers and said, it runs in the family. I said, that is a cool dad. I have to admit it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool dad.
But Chattanooga's not a cool town, so I told him to visit me here.
So I know you never ask a lady her age, so I'll say it. It's 54.
So I'll tell you.
And you've been, how long were you a drag queen? 3 decades?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's crazy. So at shows, did they become violent? I mean, that be bottles thrown at you, this kind of thing?
No, why?
No?
Why?
That never happened?
No.
All right.
I might have thrown a few.
Yeah? Would you? Did you really?
I have a
With the audience?
I was a drunk for decades. I don't remember a lot.
You raised the question. No, you said something earlier about Caitlyn Jenner, and you said that she is not a traditional drag trans person because he was a straight man before. Okay, well, I have a cousin, right? She was Gabrielle. She's now Gabe. She came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and she was like, "I'm gay." So that was a whole thing. I come from a very strict like Caribbean family, so they're like not open minded. I'm with it. I'm like, whatever you want to be, I support you. So she had a girlfriend. And then last year she was like, there's a little bit more to it. I am trans. So now he's going through the changes. He's now Gabe. He's like, he has hormones. And I think the girlfriend left because the girlfriend was like, I signed up to be with a lesbian and now you're a guy and this is weird. So do most trans people, does it start off where they're like, I don't know the question because Caitlyn, Bruce was a straight woman, a straight man, and now he's a lesbian. Caitlyn's a lesbian.
Well, there hasn't been any verification of this, but let me to answer your question. There are all kinds of different things.
Right.
Sometimes, I mean, the traditional transsexual who identified as a woman, once she made the transition and had the operation after living as a woman, by far the most, would date men because they've transitioned into a straight woman. There are some that transition into a lesbian woman.
Okay.
And I have every reason to suspect that Caitlyn is one of those. Now, the news, another reason that this whole thing is suspicious is that there's a girlfriend of mine, Candace Kane, who is trans and was on the show to provide bubbly personality because Caitlyn has none.
Okay.
And they were planting items in like the National Enquirer about how they were an item and stuff. And it really, makes my blood boil to know that they would be spreading lies to confuse, what is really going on. Because I think if Caitlyn wants to get with someone, it's going to be a woman. Candace is not a woman, and I know her boyfriend, honey, a gorgeous donkey-dicked Italian stripper who she was with for 10 years. She does not want Caitlyn's meat. Sorry, girl. No, I mean, so they've been misrepresenting it a lot, and it confused a lot of trends. But I mean, there are. We're talking about asexuals now. I mean, there are just. I think what we've all realized that there are many more. Gender variations than anyone ever dreamt of.
Is that what the A is for? An LGBT?
Yes.
It just keeps getting longer. So I stopped after like Q. LGBTQ. There's an I and now there's an A, right?
Well, Q is
queer.
Well, no.
Shit.
And I call this out.
Q is questions because I have some.
Well, it's actually questioning.
Really?
Yes, because, and I say, honey, if you think you're a part of my community, come to the gay center and get some counseling or some group therapy or HIV testing, whatever you need. But if you are changing the name of your own community to put an initial in somebody that doesn't even know they're in the community yet,
yeah, you're reaching.
What?
You're reaching for more people to join your league. Is what's happening.
Then there's the A for asexual, and I'm like, why do we get them?
They should have their own group.
Or couldn't it go with the straights? Why do we get them?
Lady Bunny, you tell it like it is.
Well, honey, you said, as you said, I'm 54. I don't have time to lie.
There's no, there hasn't been violence like you would leave a show and somebody's waiting for you outside. 3 decades. I'm surprised there's no violence.
Do you want somebody to wait outside for her?
I do.
Here's what I'm just saying. You're looking at me surprised. No, never happened.
Violence? I don't think drag queens are normally attacked.
You're looking at me so weird, like I think you're being sarcastic. Okay,
No,
well, this is good news. Okay.
I mean, somebody threw oranges at me that they grabbed from a deli at the Pyramid in the 80s on Avenue A when it was kind of rough.
But you like oranges.
I sure do.
So
When someone throws you orange, you make
orangeade. Orangeades.
All right. Well, Transgender has had a limited run at Stonewall Inn, but it's just been extended because people love it so much. Stonewall Inn, is that the first gay something ever?
It is. And, I think it's where the riots happened in 1969. I hope that's the right year.
Wait, the violence?
The riots.
What riots?
Why you want so much violence?
I know. Do you
want to just come over here and bash me and get it out of your system?
I'm just
with his dick.
I'm just surprised there was a riot.
No, I want to feel it. If I'm getting bashed, I want to feel it.
How'd the riot start?
Well, first of all, Judy Garland had died a night or two before, and she was the Madonna of their day. So everyone was already just plucked. They were guzzling. They were fucked up. But this was a place where street people hung out, and trans prostitutes or trans non-prostitutes, or just it was a bit the misfits. It was a mafia place, and there were really strange rules back then. Like you could have on 3 items of women's clothing. So you might be wearing a dress, but men's underwear, because if they ran you in, they had the same kind of law in Georgia as well. So it was one night the police raided it, and it was, how they raid clubs, so on and off. It's like and the mafia was involved. So apparently the legend is different. Apparently a black trans. I saw her as a drag queen because I don't think she was ever on hormones. But she threw a shot glass into the mirror, and that started when the police tried to bust them, and that started the whole thing. Which
had to be a black person.
Well, it's it's interesting because they did a movie Stonewall last year. Mm-hmm. And they kind of minimized Marsha P. Johnson's, P was for pay it no mind. They minimized her and other trans people and people of colors, role in the riots, and kind of made it about a white boy that had moved here from Ohio, just recently and encountered this world. So and there's been friction between, gay conservative people and trans people because, but the fact is, it was the people who were forced to walk around as an effeminate gay male, a butch lesbian, obviously gay, or as a trans person who wasn't completely passing. They get the shit every day. They don't have an office job and put on a pink T-shirt once a year to walk in the gay pride parade or go to the gay bar. They can blend in with the rest of society, so they're not going to be the target of any violence. So it really was what I call, not in a demeaning way, but in a proud way, the freaks who were outside of the norm who said, we're not taking this shit anymore. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Judy Garland was at the worst thing of all for them.
But what was the shit that they weren't taking? Was it just like random acts of violence, just like oppression, was like police harassment? Like
violence?
Because
what? Violence?
Keith is really just confirmed
that the police were targeting them because this was a gay watering hole. And they were in and out of there all the time, and whatever games they had, with the mafia, whatever, but they were raiding the place all the time because it really wasn't legal to be, out.
Right. Well, listen, you want to see this show, don't you? Here's what you do.
I want to see the show.
Go there November 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 9th, the 10th, the 11th. The show starts at 7 p.m. sharp.
Not gay people.
We've actually extended it indefinitely, but it might be like just 1 or 2 days a week.
Okay, so it's indefinitely. Don't even worry about this coming week. Thank you.
Well, I didn't say that.
No, come this coming week so she could get more shows.
Yeah.
All right.
Keith.
Stonewall Inn. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 9th, 10th, 11th. That's what we know so far. So that's what we'll focus on.
God, see, I touched on a nerve.
I hate dates. I'm happy for you, but I hate numbers very badly. Lady Bunny, thank you very much. Congrats on all your success.
Thank you, Lady Bunny.
Thank you, guys.
Did you ever make somebody cry on RuPaul's Drag You as a judge? Is that the best?
Drag You was a spinoff of Drag Race, which is the much more successful show. And Drag You didn't catch on because it was drag queens helping women get their looks together, and it was actually, I think it didn't succeed because it was very sweet. And the same makeup guru that makes Rue look like she does was behind this. And what I learned from that show, I cried 3 or 4 times on that show because gay men don't realize what women go through. We do not realize that you would give up your whole life for kids or a no good man. And some of these women had let themselves go. And then when you get a master stylist like the one who does RuPaul, I mean, it really, and they busted out on the runway and they felt like, oh, I've lost it, I'm hideous or whatever. I mean, and then they heard a big crowd applauding them. I mean, it really was unbelievably touching, but reality show thrives on train wrecks. So, it doesn't, the touching, it would lasted for 3 years, but it was never the hit that Drag Race was.
Okay. I thought in the beginning they were actually drag racing. It's not like that at all.
Yeah,
The heels make it a little tough.
Kerry, you're fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Go to KerryCoddett.com, CODDETT.com. Listen to her on SiriusXM's Wake Up with Taylor on November 4th at 7 a.m. Okay?
Really early.
It might be too early for you. If it's too early, what am I going to say? You can't change your lifestyle, but, if you can, hear it. That's all I can say. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
KeithAndTheGirl.com